And I want to welcome those who are joining us. And of course, we'll start with a bracha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah.
Amen.
All right, let's take a look. So we are here at verse 22. Lo yamish amud ha'anan yomam. The pillar of cloud would never depart by day. Okay, never departed by day. V'amud ha'esh laila, nor the pillar of fire at night, lifnei ha'am, in the presence of the people. So there was this constant sense of this divine presence that was visible, that the people could see. But let's take a look at Rashi. Lo yamish, would never depart. Hakadosh Baruch Hu. So this kind of comment is one where Rashi takes the words of the verse and just runs them onto his commentary. So it means the Holy One, blessed be He, never removed et amud ha'anan, the pillar of cloud, yomam, during the day, v'amud ha'esh laila. So again, I think what Rashi is the point that Rashi is making is that we should never forget that it's really talking about the divine protection. That even though God may have used an agent, namely the pillar of fire and the pillar of cloud, nevertheless, it was really God who was doing all these things. And of course, that's sort of a filter and a discipline for us nowadays, is to see that God is behind everything. That God is the cause of all these things that happen to us, of reality. So, Magid, it tells you, this informs us, she'amud ha'anan mashlim la'amud ha'esh. What it means is, so lahashlim, from the word shalom, shalem, complete. And so what it's telling us is that the pillar of cloud would complete, in other words, it would continue to be present as the pillar of fire, the Amud Ha'esh, took over. So, I mean, we have certainly the concept of evening, right, before twilight, and morning, dawn, right? And so I imagine at that particular time, you might have both present. And that's what what's trying to tell us here, what Rashi is trying to tell us. Va'amud ha'esh, and the pillar of fire, mashlim, I imagine, mashlim la'amud ha'anan. So it would remain a little bit and allow the pillar of cloud then to take over. And he's giving us the Talmudic reference here. She'ad shelo yishka zeh, and just in case we're not sure exactly what he means by mashlim, he said, before this one set, yeshka zeh, ole zeh, or ola zeh. Or no, it'll be ola zot. So ole zeh. So before this one set, the other one would come up. So onwards. Now we're on to a new chapter. Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, right? Hashem said to Moses to say, Daber, speak el bnei Israel, to the children of Israel, vayashuvu, they should return, vayachanu, and they should encamp, lifnei pi hachirot, in front of pi hachirot. So now we are looking at an expression of divine strategy, right? This is a strategic move that God is having Moses perform with the Israelites. Bein Migdol, between Migdol, Uvein Hayam, and between the sea. So Migdol is going to be on the one side, the sea, the Red Sea is going to be on the other side, Bifnei Baal Tzafon, and before Baal Tzafon. Again, these are place names. Tzafon usually means north, so I don't know if it's at the tip, if you can imagine to yourselves the map, but where they were maybe at the northern tip of the Red Sea, or one of the northern tips. Nichecho, facing it, so they should face Baal Tzafon, or Tachanu. Well, no, let's keep going. Tachanu al Hayam. So facing it, they should encamp before the sea. So if they're facing the sea, it's going to look as if they are unable to move, that they're stuck. They're stuck. Let's see. Nope, got another verse to go. No Rashi on that. Nope.
Mine might be out of.
Wait. No, we do.
Okay, it might have 3 Rashis.
Yes, there are a number of Rashis. It's confusing Bet with Gimel. Vayashuvu, they should go back. La'acharahem. In other words, they should beat a retreat. Letzad Mitzrayim, back towards Egypt. Hayu mekarvin kol yom hashlishi. So they would, I think what this is going is that we could put a comma in here, and we could say, Letzad Mitzrayim hayu mekarvin kol yom hashlishi. The entire third day, they were heading in the direction of Egypt. They were retreating and going back, getting closer, mekarvin. They were getting closer to Egypt on the third day. Kedei, in order that lehatot et paro, to mislead Pharaoh, sheyomar, that he should think, and this of course is in the next verse. Excuse me. To'imhem baderech, they're stuck. They're unable. They don't have a clear path. To'im is to make a mistake, right? To be confused, something like that. That they're having a problem making way. Kamosh Amar, as is stated in that verse, Amar Paro livnei Israel. And here the word Amar again doesn't mean to say; it means to think. And Pharaoh will think regarding the children of Israel, etc. And hopefully we will get to that verse. We'll see. Vayachanu lifnei pi hachirot. They should encamp before pi hachirot. And in the Mechilta, remember that's that halachic midrash on Exodus. This is according to the Mechilta, who Pitom. Remember they were talking about the cities of Pitom and Ramses. So Pi Hachirot is another name for Pitom. But now Nikra Pi Hachirot. But now it's not Pitom, it's Pi Hachirot. And the word cherut means freedom. Al Shem shene'esu b'nei chorin, because here they became free people. V'heim shnei slaim, and he's explaining that this is 2 rocks, gavohim, 2 tall rocks, zakufim, upright, 2 upright tall rocks, v'hagai shebenehem, and the valley between them, karui pi haslaim, and that the valley between them is called the mouth of the rocks. Okay, so lifnei Baal Tzafon, before Baal Tzafon, and again the Mechilta explaining to us. So these halachic midrashim are very early, or when I say very early, I believe they're still of rabbinic origin, but my sense has been that along with the Torah text, there always was, and certainly along with the narratives, there were other traditions that simply weren't written down in the Torah, but that are part of Jewish tradition. And at a certain point, they finally were collected and written down. Okay, so here we go. Lifnei Baal Tzafon. Hu nishar mikol Elohei Mitzrayim. So Baal, remember, it's a name of a god, but it means like master, north master. And he says that this is the one God of Egypt, Elohei Mitzrayim, shenishar, that remained. Kedei lahat otam, in order to mislead them, not the Jewish people, but the Egyptians, sheyomru, that they would think, kasher yiratan, okay, that their Yiratan means the one they feared, meaning, let's make sure, okay, that I believe what he's saying, and Lauren, you may be able to correct me if I'm wrong, that their God, that this Baal Tzafon was stronger than God, than Hashem, because he wasn't overcome. But I love Piresh, and regarding this particular phenomenon, that this was an intentional act on God's part in order to confuse them. Okay, he says masgi. Sagi means great, right? He magnifies lagoyim to the nations, the Ya'abdaim, and destroys them. So that sounds very much like what we're talking about. In other words, he gives the nations that are at this point deserving of retribution. So they are misled, and then they're destroyed.
And
Lauren, do you have
the only
something?
thing everything was fine. The only thing I would add is mine says that's from Yov.
Yes, here it is. It's over here. That's Eov, chapter 12. I just didn't read the
Lauren,
parentheses. Yes.
can I
Good.
ask Lauren just to read the translation of that last part about Baal Tzafon, Hu Nishar Mikol Elohei in Mitzrayim Kedei
Yeah. This was left from all the Egyptian deities in order to mislead them, so they would say that their deity is powerful. Concerning this tactic, Yov explains he misleads nations and destroys them.
Okay.
So that they would say that their deity is powerful.
It's more powerful than God.
Right, because it outlived the plagues and outlived God, God's punishment of the Egyptians.
Right. Good. I'm glad you went over that to make sure you were clear. All right. We'll continue on to Gimel. Va'amar Paro livnei Israel. There's the verse that Rashi was quoting. And Pharaoh will think regarding the children of Israel, nevuchim heim ba'aretz. They've become confused in the land. They don't know which way to go. By the way, of course, that's the name of one of Maimonides' great works, the Moreh Nevuchim, the Guide to the Perplexed. So the word Nevuchim means, perplexed, confused. They don't know where to go. They're lost. Okay. Sagar Aleihem Hamidbar, the desert has closed in on them. Right, they're now between the desert and the sea, and so they're now closed in. They're penned in. Va'amar Paro, Pharaoh will think, Kesheyishma shehem shavim la'achareihem, when he hears how they have beaten a retreat, that they've returned backwards, literally, or turned backwards. Livnei Israel, al b'nei Israel. So livnei is, of course, can be la, that prefix la can mean generally 2 or 4, but here it means regarding the children of Israel. V'chein Hashem yilachem lachem. So Rashi gives some other examples of the lamed being used in this particular way, right? V'chein Hashem yilachem lachem. Lachem here doesn't mean will battle to you, but it means on you here. Yilachem lachem.
On your behalf, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
For you, on your behalf, yeah.
So there, the lamed is closer to 4, right? I said la can mean 2 or 4. Okay. And then in Bereshit, in Genesis chapter 20, Imri li, and this is Isaac, I believe, say regarding me, about me, Achihu, he is my brother. Imri alai, say about me, on me. Nevuchim heim. So this word nevuchim is a uncommon word. So Rashi's trying to translate it for us. Kluim means imprisoned. Umeshukaim would be sunk. Uvelaz serré. So, and in Old French, that medieval French, it's serré, ein gegangt. So gangen is to go. So ein gegangt has, I think it has the meaning, I'm not absolutely positive, but it sounds like they basically are stuck. They can't go anywhere. Kamor, and he gives examples, Tehillim Pei Dalet, Psalm 84, Be'emek Habacha. So it's very interesting. It doesn't mean the veil of tears. Okay, this aleph, because I think if it was Bacha, Livchot, it would not be an aleph, it would be a hey. So it means in the confusing valley, all right, or in the valley in which we're stuck, something like that, all right. And then Eov Kaf Aleph, Job again, 21, Mibeche Naharot. And again, it refers to depths of the rivers. So something in which you're sunk down in. And then there's another, you go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, is it the same word in the Megillah where it says V'ha'ir Shushan Navocha?
Yes, it means the city of Shushan was perplexed. They were confused. They didn't know. You know, I think the thing that precedes that is Haman and Achashverosh, the king, and Haman sit down to eat after this decree. You know, and this crazy decree.
Uh-huh.
Like, forgive me, I'm about to say something political, like you're not allowed to give water to people standing in line to vote. What kind of dumb, ridiculous law is that?
Yeah, you're just standing there with your mouth open and you don't even know what to say. Like,
Right,
what?
exactly. I know. This is crazy. Okay. Nivchayam, again, right? The depths of the sea. Nevuchimheim, in other words, they are confused. Kluimheim, they're shut in. Bamidbar, in the wilderness, in the desert. She'enan yodin latzeit mimenu, they don't know how to get out of it. Ulehechan yelchu, and at this point, where they're going to go. So Rashi, sort of totally plays out the words in the text, to give them their full meaning. Next.
So mine pretty much agrees with you, but it does have a parenthetical that says, in his commentary on this verse from Yov, Rashi follows Menachem Machberet from Machberet Menachem.
Yes.
And Rashi on Psalms and Yov, however, interprets these verses as expressions of weeping from the root Bachar. See Judaica Press Commentary Digest.
Oh, cute. Let me look at something. Let me see. Let me look at those words. Yeah. Let's find it. Yes. Okay. Here's the reason I believe. And that is because here it's not an aleph. Okay. And it's possible that that's the reason why he uses those, because a yud and a hey are interchangeable. However, an aleph is not. And this reference to Menachem, I believe, this was a relatively early work on Hebrew grammar, analysis of the language. So, thank you, though. That's an interesting note. V'chizakti et lev paro, and I will strengthen Pharaoh's heart, literally his determination, right? V'radaf acharehem, and he will pursue them. V'ikavda, and I will gain glory, b'paro, through Pharaoh, uv'chol chelo, and through his army. V'yad'u Mitzrayim, and the Egyptians will realize, ki ani Hashem, that I am Hashem. V'yasu chen, and the Israelites did that. They did it. This is referring to the Israelites. I believe. Because this is, remember, Moses is told to instruct the Israelites in this. So, Ve'ichabda b'paro. I will gain glory through Pharaoh. And Rashi makes a generalized comment. Kishehakadosh Baruch Hu mitnakem barishaim. That when in fact the wicked are given their just deserts, when the Holy One displays retribution against the wicked, Shmo mitgadel umitkabed, his reputation, his name, his reputation increases and is given greater honor. So it's interesting, right? That one thing the Torah tries to do is that while we realize that, there is some kind of continuum between good and bad, between good and evil, nevertheless, there's a point at which the evil starts to overtake the good in such a way that one is now open season. And I will say that the point is, though, that evil, even amongst the good, if you're predominantly a good person and yet you have evil qualities, you will have to, we do have to somehow make up, and face the consequences of those parts of us that represent evil. V'chein hu omer, and like so he says in Ezekiel chapter 38, V'nishpatati ito, I will make judgments against him, etc. Okay, so making judgments, of course, is paying for evil, having to account for it. V'achar kach, and after this, it says in Ezekiel, V'hitgadilti v'hitkadishti, I will be magnified and I will be sanctified, v'nodati, and I will be known, etc. The Omer, and another example in Psalm 76, Shama Shiber, there he destroyed Rishfe Kashet, the fiery shafts of the bow. The Acharkach, and after that, Noda Bihuda Elohim, God is known and recognized in Judah. The Omer, and again it says, so what he's doing for us is he is directly showing a link between the account, when the wicked are called into account, and that God's name is glorified through this. That God's that God's execution of justice, right, is what magnifies God. God is magnified in that execution of justice. V'omer, and again it says, and this would be Psalm 9, Noda Hashem, God is known or recognized, Mishpat Asa, he has executed justice or judgment. Okay.
Well, one thing that I don't understand is that mostly we don't see the justice. I mean, I would think that mostly that happens upon someone's death and we're not privy to knowing that it's happened. I mean, we can have faith that God is just, but I don't see how it glorifies God's name if we don't really know it.
Right. So Rashi is talking about a public display where people do know it, where it is done, like in the example that is going to be given to us in the crossing of the Red Sea, where it was clear. All right. I mean, I think there are circumstances that I can think of where nowadays, where if there are people who are, at least I realize, I'm not God, right? Not even close, but nevertheless, in other words, my determination of what's right and wrong and what's good and evil it can't be based on my own feelings about it. But on the other hand, to the degree that I believe that my tradition, my religious tradition, gives me some strong understanding of what is the right way and what is the way of evil, that those people who clearly practice evil ways. When they get their just desserts, it's a sense of divine justice being executed. So let's. Am I responding to your query, Lauren?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me keep going.
No,
Yes.
done. It's
Ooh.
the clock rang the hour
Yes.
a few minutes ago. Thank
I
you.
know. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa. I saw. I actually have your name right by my clock, my computer clock. So I realized we are out of time, and wish everyone continued happy Pesach. And with God's help, we will be back tomorrow. So I'm going to stop the share, and I will stop the recording as well, and wish everyone well.